Hey, it's Monday, it's weather for Weather Geeks time, and boy, it's another day where we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right to it. I'm going to give you kind of the breakdown of what's going on now, and then I'm going to show you some things that, kind of will point out or emphasize that even though this storm is, we're under 36 hours away from this now, the confidence in the snowfall totals is not quite as high as I would like it to be this close to a storm. I'm going to show you why that is in just a second. But first things first, this afternoon as I record this, at about 2:10 p.m., this storm was a miss for us. This produced, some pretty decent snowfall amounts earlier today and overnight last night back across extreme southeast Ohio, West Virginia, southwest Pennsylvania, and now it's been a big problem for New York City, Philadelphia, heading up towards Providence and Boston. This is enough snow to shovel and plow, but this storm was just too far south. The track was down here with this for us, so the snow only got about up to, say, right here, and that's about it. So this was a miss for us. We've had some sunshine this afternoon. Now, temperature-wise, it's colder today. Temperatures this afternoon no higher than the mid-20s here across the Mahoning and Shenango valleys, so nothing unusual for early February, but certainly a little bit of a change from a relatively comfortable weekend that we just had. Looking upstream, we can see a lot of cold air here, teens across the Midwest, heading into the Great Lakes. This is not extreme cold like we had a week ago, but yeah, it is cold. That's where the coldest of the year across the lower 48 states is, heading up towards Canada and Alaska. Typical February cold up here. The pattern right now is one that does not feature much in the way of extremes in terms of temperatures, and if you're looking for really nice weather, hey, the southeast is looking good, 70s and 80s, where they just had snow not long ago down in the Carolinas. All right, let's talk about the future. We're fine through tonight. We're fine through the daylight hours tomorrow. I'm going to bring up my high-resolution computer model here and show you what the radar should look like towards the end of the day tomorrow. Start this off with 5 p.m., This is tomorrow evening at 5 p.m., so 45 minutes or so before sunset. The snow starting to streak out into parts of northwest Ohio, into northern Ohio, I should say. So it might be snowing by 5 o'clock in Cleveland and back towards Lima, maybe just south of Toledo, Fort Wayne. And then I'll roll this forward to 7 p.m. tomorrow, and this is when it'll, starting to be making a little more progress eastward into the state of Ohio and heading towards western Pennsylvania. So tomorrow, no problems through the daylight hours. Even the first hour or two after sunset, you're going to be just fine tomorrow. It's probably 8, 9, 10 o'clock tomorrow evening when most of us will start to see the snow flying. And you can see this is a pretty healthy band of snow about to push in from the west. But I am going to show you, I want to bring up the temperatures aloft, upstairs a little bit, at about, say 5,000 feet, because that's going to be a real critical thing to watch, is where this warm nose aloft gets. Because there's going to be a nose of warm air upstairs in the atmosphere that's going to make for some forecasting headaches. How far north is it going to get? How far east is it going to get? And the warm nose is kind of in here between this blue line and this kind of peach line. So this warm nose trying to punch in from the south and the west. And I am worried that this causes some problems with the type of precipitation. And I do think, especially as I zoom in towards our area, especially south of Route 30, kind of in this zone down through here, there's going to be some sleet. Perhaps even down towards East Liverpool, some freezing rain for a time during this storm. And of course, that's going to cut down on snow amounts wherever that happens. I think the most likely place for it to happen is south of Youngstown and south of 224 and probably down towards the Route 30 corridor. That's the most likely place for it to happen, but I can't rule out some sleet trying to mix in as far north as even I-80. I'm going to talk about why that is in just a second. So that's one of the forecasting challenges we definitely have with this storm. I'll switch sources here, and we'll talk about tomorrow night. So things get underway 8, 9, 10 o'clock tomorrow evening. Then heading into the overnight hours and into Wednesday morning, this is going to be when the worst of the storm is. This is 1 a.m. Wednesday morning, and it'll be snowing at a pretty good clip. But that line where mixing could be occurring, where the dotted lines here change from blue to red, that's kind of your danger zone in here. So certainly down towards Wheeling and Steubenville and Pittsburgh, I think there's going to be a lot of mixed precipitation down there. But sneaking into the WFMJ viewing area, that's going to be a real possibility. So that's 1 in the morning. Now by 7 a.m., I think we're starting to be in the wind-down phase as the steadiest and heaviest of the precipitation will be east of us by sunrise on Wednesday. So this is going to be primarily an overnight thing. A couple of other things I want to show you here. one of the things we look at when we try to figure out when precipitation will start and end is the moisture content up where the clouds typically are forming, and a little above that even. So this is up around, oh, say 7, 8, 9, even 10,000 feet. And the deeper the moisture at that level, the darker the greens are here. Now this is at 1 o'clock in the morning, Wednesday morning. Notice what's going on in southwest Ohio, down towards Cincinnati. All of a sudden, there's this dry little tongue of air coming in from the south and west. And wherever that dry tongue is coming in, that's going to mark the end of the snowstorm for any one location. So by 1 in the morning, Cincinnati's out of the woods. As I pull this forward to 7 a.m., notice that dry tongue is wrapped all the way in now to much of eastern Ohio. And it may even, sneak in a little before this. So, I do think there's going to be a fairly rapid shutdown to the worst of the snow at 4 or 5 a.m. on average on Wednesday. So the worst of this is likely to be somewhere between, say, 10 or 11 p.m. Tuesday night through about 4 or 5 a.m. Wednesday. It's about a 6-hour window where it's going to be snowing at a pretty good clip. Now, sure, it's going to snow a little bit after 4 or 5 a.m. Wednesday, but it's not going to be nearly as heavy, and it'll have a harder time accumulating. So by the time a lot of us are up and around Wednesday morning, the worst of the storm will be over. So we got to keep an eye on that dry punch of air upstairs in the atmosphere, because it'll tend to just shut down the steadiest and heaviest of the snow. This is another view of that level I'm worried about at about 5,000 feet that could lead to some mixed precipitation problems. The air is above freezing, where you start to see the greens and yellow colors here. And this is, let me back this up a time step here, 1 in the morning, Wednesday morning. So you're above freezing air up at about 5,000 feet at this point, according to the GFS model, is up into the panhandle of West Virginia, but probably not up into the WFMJ viewing area. That's the GFS. The NAM has it a little farther north. This is a different model, and it has that green line getting a little farther north. So we're starting to get into the zone where I get a little uncomfortable, and you might have to allow for the possibility of some sleet trying to mix in, perhaps even some freezing rain in Columbiana County. All right, so Wednesday afternoon, the worst of the storm is long gone, but there'll be some snow showers around. And could there be another inch, especially north of I-80? Yeah, it's possible. But again, most of this is Tuesday night. Rest of the week looks pretty uneventful. I'll just roll through this quickly. Thursday and Friday, really nothing going on. And then our attention will turn to the weekend. And the models are trying to bring another storm up through parts of the Ohio Valley, the East Coast. This is late on Sunday. So this is down the road a piece. We'll talk about this more once we're done with the current system. But just putting it on your radar, so to speak, that we may be dealing with more snow as we head into the upcoming weekend. All right, I'm going to show you a few more things here that will kind of give you an idea as to why the confidence isn't great in how many inches your backyard is going to see with this particular storm. Certainly the confidence is lower this close to it than I would like. Here's the short-range ensemble model snow forecast, giving us a range of ideas, according to this model, of how much snow could fall at the Youngstown Warren Airport in southeastern Trumbull County. Top end of the range, this is about 13 inches up here. Notice there's not many lines up this far, so not many members of this model think there's going to be that much, but a couple do. The bottom of the scale here is only about 1 inch. So 1 to 13 inches is kind of the zone of possibilities according to this model, with most of the lines kind of concentrated right in here, and this is about 4 or 5 inches. There's another cluster that kind of gets going up here, up around 10, which I do think is a little overdone. So with all of the lines, or not all of them, but a good chunk of the lines clustered around 4 or 5 inches, that gives me some confidence that that's going to be where a lot of backyards check in. But I do want to bring up the precipitation type probabilities for you real quickly here to show you what this model is seeing. The blue line here, that's snow, the chance of snow. The higher up the line goes, the higher the chance of snow. The red line, mixed precipitation or ice, and notice wee hours of Wednesday morning, this gets up around 20%, and this is for southeastern Trumbull County, remember. So according to this model, there could be a 20% chance of seeing something other than snow, even as far north as southeastern Trumbull County. The green line's even rain, so there's even about a 20% chance of rain, according to this model, up that far to the north. So chances are going to be a little higher down to the south of where this point is, which is where the airport is. So that, it gives me some worry that there's going to be some sort of mixing going on, even possibly as far north as I-80 with this. And anywhere where mixing occurs, snow amounts are not going to be quite as high as we might think. Now, how much are the models predicting? Again, I'm only showing you these to give you the reasons why our confidence in the snow totals isn't quite as high as we would like it. European gives about 10 inches to a lot of the area. That's at the high end of things. Here's the GFS model. It has about 4 or 5 inches in most spots, so that's a pretty big difference. The NAM model gives us an average of generally 3 to 6 in most spots. The 6 inches plus is anywhere where you see purple and pink, so 6 a little more likely according to the NAM up in northern Trumbull County. And then finally, I'll show you the Canadian model. It doesn't have quite the same look. It looks a little bizarre to me where it places the heavier precipitation. So, boy, we're only 30 hours away from this storm, and the models are not exactly singing the same tune, which means us as human forecasters, we have a lower degree of confidence in the snow forecast than we would really like. What's the bottom line? I'm over 10 minutes on this video, so I'm gonna try to wrap this up in a nice bow. I think generally speaking, what we're going to go on the TV side of things with this evening is a range of something like 2 to 4 in extreme southeastern Columbiana County. So we're talking about down towards East Liverpool, perhaps up to East Palestine. So 2 to 4 with a lot of mixing down there. The rest of the region, including Youngstown, Boardman, Austintown, and then up into Trumbull County, into Mercer County, a general 4 to 8. I think at this point that's what we're going to go on the air with this evening. As I look at more data, I may tweak this, but generally speaking, I'm going to kind of break it up a little bit and kind of isolate southeastern Columbiana County as the area is likely to have the lowest totals with the most mixed precipitation. The rest of us with a moderate chance of mixed precipitation and a better chance of seeing more snow. The rest of us, 4 to 8 seems like a pretty good forecast. So I'll look at more data as we go through time, and you'll see me tonight on 21 News at 6 and 11. Thanks for sticking with me on this extra long edition of Weather for Weather Geeks.